Part 2. Positive and negative qualities. Your mental and emotional qualities may be classed as either 1. Positive, or 2. Negative. The terms positive and negative, respectively, as used in the present connection, denote the character of these qualities in their relation to the successful accomplishment of your rightful aims, ambitions, purposes and ends, either the successful accomplishment of your general rightful purposes, or of your special rightful purposes. Positive qualities contribute to your successful accomplishment, attainment, manifestation and expression of rightful ideals. Negative qualities contribute to your failure to accomplish or attain, or to manifest and express rightful ideals. Positive qualities push and pull you forward. Negative qualities push or pull you backward. Positive qualities tend to urge you upward and onward. Negative qualities tend to drag you downward and backward. Positive qualities are helpful to you. Negative qualities are harmful to you. The best statement of the character and nature of positive qualities and negative qualities, respectively, is as follows: positive qualities make you stronger, better and more efficient. Negative qualities make you weaker, worse and less efficient. The test question to be applied by you to any mental or emotional quality, any feeling, emotion, thought, mental attitude, or course of action, is: will this serve to make me stronger, better and more efficient? The touchstone of positivity. The above mentioned test question to be applied by you to any mental or emotional quality, any feeling, emotion, thought, mental attitude, or course of action. The question, will this make me stronger, better, and more efficient, has well been called the touchstone of positivity, for it serves to determine positivity when such exists in a quality of character. A touchstone is a mineral employed to test gold and silver by means of the streak left upon the stone by the metal when the latter is rubbed upon it. When the gold or silver of positivity is applied to this touchstone, the characteristic mark is left upon it and the genuineness of the mental or emotional metal is determined. The baser metals leave no such mark. The spirit of the touchstone of positivity consists of the following standard of excellence: 1. Expressing and manifesting the best possible kind of actions, physical, mental and spiritual. 2. With the greatest possible degree of ability, power and energy. And 3. With the maximum of actual and useful effect proportioned to the actual degree of power, strength or energy expended. The touchstone is the standard representing your summum bonum, or chief good, your chief ends and aims in life. Surely the ideal is a worthy one. When rightly understood and interpreted, it is seen to include the essence of that which men of widely differing theories of life agree upon as the rightful aim and end of human effort. In this light, the question, will this make me stronger, better and more efficient, is perceived to be a worthy, consistent, and legitimate test of the value of your mental and emotional qualities of character. The nearer to this standard your character qualities approach in their development and manifestation, the greater is their value to you. To this end you should cultivate and develop your positive elements of character. To this end you should restrain and inhibit your negative elements of character. The positive norm and the two negations. Every mental or emotional quality or faculty of character has its positive norm, and its two negative extremes. The norm of anything is the authoritative standard, model, or type of that thing. The negative extremes of anything serve to negate the positive norm. To negate the positive norm is to deny, contradict, nullify and render it inactive and ineffective. Every norm has two extremes of negation, two negative extremes. For convenience, we may style the two negations, or two negative extremes, as follows: 1. The deficientia negative, i.e., the state or condition in which the norm is negated by the absence of its essential character, or by the presence of its antithetical opposite. And 2. The excessa negative, i.e., the state or condition in which the norm is negated by the presence of its general character manifested to such an excessive degree or in such a perverted form that thereby the essential virtue of the norm is practically nullified and its power rendered inactive. The deficientia negative represents the departure from the norm on the side of lack, deficiency or absence. The excessa negative represents the departure from the norm on the side of excess, intemperance, superfluity, extravagance, overmuchness or perversion of its essential spirit. The positive norm is the golden mean. The two negations or negative extremes are the extreme departures from the positive norm, on either side of the latter. Either negative extreme serves to negate the positive norm associated with it. The following illustration drawn from everyday life may help to fix the above idea in your mind. A normal amount of heat is necessary to your physical well-being. That normal amount is a matter of but comparatively few degrees of temperature and narrow space between fixed limits on the great scale of heat vibrations. It represents your positive norm of heat. Below that limit, you begin to suffer, and finally you will die for lack of heat, or as we usually call it, from too much cold. This represents your deficiency negative of heat. Above that limit, or norm, you begin to suffer from excess heat, and finally will die therefrom. This represents your excess negative of heat. Increase the temperature of the earth by a comparatively few degrees, and every living thing on it would perish. Decrease it correspondingly below the normal limit, and every living thing on the earth would perish just as truly as in the event of extreme cold. Application of the ultra-cold liquid air to the surface of the skin will result in the production of a blister similar to that caused by scalding the hot water. In their effects and results upon man, lack of heat and excess of heat are both negatives. The not enough is no worse than the too much. The only positive for him is found in the norm, his normal range of temperature. The same rule applies to every phase of character qualities, and to many other things in nature as well. Strive ever to secure and to maintain the golden mean. Few persons realize that by carrying a good thing too far they tend to negate its norm as truly as if they manifested the opposite quality or deficiency negative of the thing, but such is the actual result of such an extreme course of action. When you manifest the excess negative of a positive mental or emotional characteristic, you really negate its property of making you stronger, better and more efficient, quite as truly as if you had negated it by manifesting its opposite or deficiency negative. In either case, the negation serves to make you weaker, worse and less efficient. You must never lose sight of this great principle of polarity. When in this instruction we warn you against manifesting negative mental or emotional states, we mean either negative, i.e., excess negative as truly as deficiency negative. You have been shown that every element of character has its positive phase, and its two phases of negation, each of the latter constituting a true negative to the positive phase. You are now asked to consider a correlated fact. By a law of nature, positive and negatives cannot coexist in active manifestation at the same time and place. If one is present and active, the opposite must be non-active and practically absent. Just as a thing cannot be both hard and soft, or sharp and blunt, or heavy and light, or rough and smooth, at the same time and place, so positive and negative mental qualities cannot both be actively manifested at the same time and place. This being likewise true of the two opposing negatives associated with each positive. The presence and activity of a positive tends to inhibit the activity of either and both of its associated negatives. The activity of one negative tends to inhibit the activity of its associated positive and also of its opposite negative. Inhibit means to check, to hold back, to restrain, to forbid, to prohibit, to interdict. Inhibition means act or state of being inhibited, state of restraint, prohibition, or embargo. General rules for development or inhibition based upon the above he has stated laws or principles of the relation and correlation of the positives and negatives of character qualities. We have the following general rules concerning the respective development or inhibition of the qualities of character. To develop a positive. To develop a positive character quality you should, a. earnestly and consistently express and manifest it in action, so as to obtain the benefits arising from exercise, practice, and use. B. Supply it with the appropriate suggestive mental environment, in order to obtain the natural reaction to such and the stimulus from it. C. Carefully and faithfully refrain from expressing or manifesting its deficiency negative, or from supplying such with appropriate suggestive mental environment. D. Hold firmly in mind, and adhere faithfully to, the essential idea and basic conception of the positive norm of the quality, and add to it the positive elements of discrimination, balance, and the sense of humor, in order to prevent the excessive expression and perverted manifestation of the quality which tends to transform it into its excess negative and thus to rob it of its essential positive virtue. 2. To inhibit a deficiency negative. To inhibit a deficiency negative character quality, you should, a. carefully and faithfully refrain from expressing it, or from supplying it with appropriate suggestive mental environment, and b. endeavor constantly and determinedly to express and manifest its associated positive. Here we have an illustration of the principle that, 1. Expressing a negative tends to inhibit its associated positive, and 2. Expressing a positive tends to inhibit its associated negative. Example: by turning on the light, positive, you inhibit the darkness, negative, in the room. Or, by pouring muddy water, negative, in a bowl of clearer water, positive, you tend to inhibit the positive. Whereas, on the other hand, by allowing a stream of clearer water, positive, to flow into a bowl of dirty water, negative, you tend to inhibit the negative. The best way to inhibit a negative is to develop its associated positive. Turn on the light, and you need not shovel the darkness out of the room. 3. To inhibit an excess a negative. To inhibit an excess a negative character equality, you have but to a. Strongly idealize and visualize the associated positive norm, thus having before you a clear, strong picture of the positive quality rationally and properly manifested, and b. Adding to and blending with the quality a liberal and sufficient mixture of the elements of judgment, reason, moderation, sense of real values, sense of balance and proportion, and, last but not least, a goodly portion of the sense of humor. Excessive negatives usually are really perversions, or corruptions, of the positive norm of a character quality. The positive quality has been turned away from the right road of expression, and has wandered into the quagmire of excess, morbidity, and misapplication. The addition of other positive elements of character tends to bring about the necessary reaction to the normal, and the positive quality once more is set upon the right road of manifestation. You will see the application of this principle more clearly when you consider the illustrations of excessive negatives given in the following sections of this book. You are here asked to commit to memory the following suggestive aphorism: excessive expression or manifestation of a positive character quality is equivalent to a perversion or corruption of the essential spirit of that quality. By means of it, the positive nature of the quality is transformed into a negative, and thus loses its virtue. Charting your character qualities before you can proceed intelligently to develop your character along the true lines of strength, goodness and efficiency, you must come to an agreement with yourself concerning the matter of your present development of character and understanding of just what qualities of your character are strong, just which of them are weak, just which need developing, just which require restricting. You should take stock of your mental equipment, carefully noting the state of activity and strength being manifested by your positive qualities, and by your negative qualities as well, so that you will know just where you stand in the matter of character qualities. In a general way, you know your strong qualities, and your weak ones. If you are honest with yourself, you will have no difficulty in noting down on your character chart the degree of development and activity which you have attained in the case of most of your mental and emotional faculties. But unless you have made a careful analysis of character qualities in general, you will fail to some extent in preparing an efficient character chart for use in your work of character building. Therefore, we have thought it well to prepare for you, and to present to you in this book, a comprehensive character chart showing the principal qualities of character manifested by men in general. You will find this character chart to be quite useful to you in your work of character building. The sight of the word indicating some positive quality will cause your mind to form a clear and strong concept of that quality, which will serve as a mental mold or framework around which your work of building up that quality may proceed. Likewise, the word denoting some negative quality will cause that quality to take on a definite form and aspect in your mind, thereby enabling you to combat it more effectively. You can fight a flesh and a blood enemy much better than you can combat an antagonistic, ghostly, nebulous form. When you know your enemies and see them actually before you, you are the better prepared to fight and conquer them. As someone has said, an enemy known is half a beaten. Drive the enemy out into the open, into the clearing, and you will have him at a disadvantage. Self-examination: we suggest that you study carefully the following character chart, and that at the same time carefully study yourself, your character. Be honest and frank with yourself. Do not try to deceive yourself, for by doing so you will hurt yourself. If you have a strong positive quality well developed, do not allow false modesty to prevent you from marking it down on the character chart. Likewise, if you are weak and deficient in some quality, or have its negative opposite too active, do not let pride prevent you from marking it down. The character chart is the diagnosis of your case. You know the diagnosis upon which the treatment is to be based and administered, and unless you were honest and frank with yourself in preparing this chart, you will fail to obtain the full benefits of this instruction and of the self-treatment based upon it. You will notice that in the character chart there is noted, in the middle column, the positive norm of each particular faculty or quality of character, and that on either side of this there appears the deficiency negative, and the excess negative, respectively. You should carefully consider each one of these three groups, and then decide which of the three phases is predominant in your character. Sometimes you will find yourself just a little to one side or the other of the positive norm, yet not far enough away to place you in the category of either of the negatives. You should check off carefully with your pencil the particular place you occupy in each of the groups. By doing this, you provide yourself with a plain guide or prescription for self-treatment along the lines of character building. Deficiency in negative: lack of egohood, lack of self-control, lack of self-confidence, lack of initiative. Deficiency in negative: careless observation, inefficient perception, fallacious reasoning, lack of imagination, inefficient memory. Deficiency in negative: lack of concentration, lack of persistency, instability, slothfulness. The egoistic qualities: positive norm, egohood, self-control, self-confidence, initiative. Excess negative: egotism, asceticism, egotistic conceit, egotistic rashness. 2. The intellectual qualities: positive norm, efficient observation, efficient perception, logical reasoning, constructive imagination, efficient memory. Excess negative: purposeless observation, non-discriminative perception, hair-splitting reasoning, idle fancy, memory of non-essentials. 3. The motive qualities: positive norm, concentrated attention, persistent determination, stability, industry. Excess negative: over concentration, stubborn obstinacy, inertness, slavery to work. Deficiency in negative: cowardice, lack of spirit, improvidence, hopeless doubt, apathetic lethargy, lack of ambition. Deficiency in negative: undue gravity, carelessness, tactlessness. Deficiency in negative: untruthfulness, inequity, lack of sympathy, disloyalty, refusal to serve, intemperance, chastity. Deficiency in negative: lack of spirituality, lack of reverence. Character power. 4. The emotive qualities: positive norm, courage, balance, temper, provident, acquisitiveness, hopeful, faith, earnest interest, ambition. The associated qualities: positive norm, humor, cheerfulness, tact. The moral qualities: positive norm, veracity, equity, kindliness, loyalty, service, temperance, xenophobia. 7. The spiritual qualities: positive norm, spirituality, reverence. Excess negative: recklessness, ill temper, miserly greed, visionary credulity, unbalanced enthusiasm, inordinate ambition. Excess negative: undue levity, strange cheerfulness, insincere suavity. Excess negative: morbid candor, censoriousness, maudlin sympathy, blind partisanship, servility, austerity, unchastity. Excess negative: perverted spirituality, superstitious awe. The above chart of the principal character qualities is not offered as an all-inclusive or complete list or table of each and every character quality noted by observers and known in our own experience. Rather, it is intended merely as a general suggestive list or table of such general qualities. However, it is thought that but few, if any, typical general character qualities are absent from it. Those qualities not specifically designated in the list or table are believed to be covered by those which are so designated and included, in one or more of the following ways, viz. 1. Where the undesignated quality is included under some other name or term. 2. Where the undesignated quality is treated as a phase, form, aspect, or degree of some one of the designated qualities. 3. Where the undesignated quality is a composite attribute, its elements being represented in the list or table of the designated qualities. In all such case, however, we believe that you will find the missing character quality present in spirit and meaning, if not in name and form. The numerous character qualities designated in the character chart are considered in detail in the several succeeding sections of this book. We advise you to study carefully this detailed analysis of the several qualities, so that you may understand each one fully and that you submit yourself to an honest, vigorous, and exhaustive self-examination concerning the form and degree in which each respective quality is now being manifested and expressed by you. Remember the old adage, man, know thyself.